What? It's here.
What's here?
Hang on. Let's get this D&D stuff out of the way.
What are you do? Put initiative. Oh.
Let's crack this thing. Yes. What was I saying before?
When you got a certain card?
No, but opening a pack. I said I wanted to get to cracking. Okay, Zarbon, Trunks, Mira, Vegeta, Bulma, Gotenks. Making that deck for sure. Let's get this deck started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. Bancroft here today with a deck profile for you. This one is the, the video. This is the Gotenks starter leader. So this was a one I wanted to go start with from the very beginning when I first saw the leader announced. As you all remember, I did build Gotenks. It's one of my favorite decks, even though it's definitely nowhere in the meta range. But it's fun to play. Now this one, I think it's a mix. This one can be good. This is mainly set 10 stuff. So, like always, if you enjoy our content, hit that like, subscribe button. Let us know how we're doing. Also, if you see in this profile, you're like, hey, you know what? Do this instead. It will make it better. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll try it out. Appreciate it. And I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We do have 4 to 5 other decks that have been requested that we're in the process of working on. We did take a small break. I do apologize about that, and we will get those out as soon as possible. I do know the next 2 decks that Fluff will be profiling are actually set. One's a set 10 deck, and one's, I think, is a revised Topo build. So we'll look forward to those as well. But if you think you want to see us build, put it in the comments down below. Now let's get into this profile. So the Gotenks leader. When this card attacks, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then draw 1 card. Auto. Once per turn, if your opponent has 1 or more energy, when your opponent activates an extra card, draw an additional card. And when you have 4 or less life, you can activate this card's awakening by resetting 2 of your energy. That being said, this deck is a very, I'm going to say drawing. I'm not sure if that's the right word or not, but I'm saying that it is. But you do draw a lot with this deck, which is pretty nice. Now, of course, in our experience with testing lately, a lot of decks don't use as many extra cards as they used to, which is, I'm not going to say it's a problem for this deck. You still do draw a lot, but in the testing we did, I learned that people don't play a lot of extra cards. So, sure. But when you awaken, you have now when this card attacks, draw 1 card. So you no longer take a life, which is pretty nice. Auto once per turn, when your opponent activates an extra card, draw 1 card and choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. And then, auto once per turn, when you activate a Union Fusion, this card gets plus 5,000 power and crit for the turn, which is pretty nice. So, if you can make it happen, always do Union Fusion before you swing the leader. That way he gets a plus 5,000 and the crit, which is pretty nice. And also on this side, as you can see, he does draw off of attacks. And if your opponent plays 1 extra card either during your turn or your opponent's turn, because it just says once per turn. That's pretty nice. So that is the Gotenks leader. Now, to help search for a lot of things, I do play 2 different types of searchers. The first one being Vegeta, which is the 1-drop. When you play this card, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 yellow Unison with a specific cost of 2, or 1 yellow sand card with energy cost of 3 or less among them, and then shuffle your deck afterwards. Or I play the Pan, which auto when this card is played, look up the top 5 cards of your deck, and you can add up to 2 yellow Sun Goten, GT Trunks, GT, and or Gotenks Adolescents cards among them to your hand, and then shuffle it afterwards. And then when you do that, you do have to choose 1 card in your hand and discard it if you added 2 cards to your hand that way. So that is the one draw to that one compared to the Vegeta, but you could potentially pull 2 cards that you need, which is pretty nice, and get rid of a card that's going to be useless for the current battle. So those are my searchers. So who do they search? Obviously, the Gotenks, which we play 3, the Flash of Brilliance, where this card has an active main if your leader card is yellow. Gotenks Adolescence card. You choose up to 1 yellow card in your hand, discard it, and then add this card from your drop to your hand. Now you cannot use this card. You cannot use this activate main skill on another copy of this card. So you only do this once per turn, which not bad. It just helps you fill your hand back up. But you do have to discard a card. It's like a 1-for-1, but it does build for future fusions. I do play 2 of the other version of Goten, which is the 2 drops. I play this one just in case. If I, let's say, this is my starting hand. I have 1 each of these, but no Trunks. I can use his effect to pull the 3-drop Trunks from my deck to my hand and just discard them, which is pretty nice. The 3-drop Trunks just being the Flash of Brilliance version, which has the exact same effect of the Goten Flash of Brilliance, which isn't bad. Just if I need it to my hand, all I gotta do is just cut a yellow card, and then put this card in my hand for my drop. And I do play the 2-drop of the other version of Trunks, just in case the same thing happens with the Trunks instead of the Gotenks. So those are pretty much my fusion targets. And since I went ahead and just said fusion targets, that means I am playing the Gotenks. I play 2 of the Overwhelming Might, which has crit. For 2 yellow energies, his Union Fusion. His auto is that when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, negate its skills for the turn, and then draw 1 card, which is pretty nice. It does have an activate main. Place this card at the bottom of its owner's deck, add up to 1 Yellow Sun Goten, a GT card, and up to 1 Yellow Trunks GT card from your drop area to your hand. So Union Fusion, you play him, draw a card, then you activate main. Once, of course, after you swing of it, you bottom it, bring the 2 fusions back to your hand, which is an even trade-off if you think about it, actually, because it takes 3 cards just to takes 2 cards to play him, so it's 3 cards from your hand. But when he plays, he draws 1 card, and then activate main, you put 2 cards back into your hand. So it's a nice trade-off. I do play 2 of the Power of Fusion, which is the double strike version, and this one has the when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, then draw 1 card. Activate main is the exact same thing as the Overwhelming Might, so it's just a nice little trade out. One's really meant for going for my opponent's leader, one's meant for going for my opponent's unisons, and because I have the pans to help search them out a little bit quicker, if need be, they're there. But a lot of times, I typically will just try to go into the 7-drop, going all out. Double strike and dual attack. He does take 3 energy though to Union Fusion, but when you do, you draw 2 cards as part of the cost or part of the Union Fusion, as long as you discard obviously the Goten and Trunks as well as part of that. But when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, negate its skills for the turn, then KO it. So he does not have the ability to bring the Trunks or Gotens back to your hand, but that's fine. It could potentially KO a very powerful card, especially if someone's like super aggroing on you, get something nice early on. Or if you hang on to this card for later gameplays, you can play this to kind of pop bigger cards, which is pretty nice as well. So those are my Gotenks. So with testing, originally I think I did 3, 3, and 3, but then I was never really seeing him enough. And so I brought these 2 down to 2, brought him to 4, mainly because my turn 2 plays are never the 4-drops. My turn 2 plays are my Unisons, which I play 4 of the Gogetas. If you're not familiar with Gogeta, if all of your energy is in rest mode, your mono yellow leader card gets plus 5,000 power during your opponent's turn. So as long as you tap out, your leader gets plus 5,000 power, which makes your opponent most likely have to combo early on just to get those hits out. It does have an auto once per turn. When your opponent activates an extra card, add a marker to this card. So if I swing my opponent and then negate, he gets boosted by a marker. If my opponent plays a extra card on their turn, he gets boosted by a marker, which is pretty nice. His +1 is I choose 2 yellow cards in my hand, discard them to draw 2 new cards, and he has a -4. During your opponent's next charge phase, your opponent can only switch up to 2 energy to active. So if your opponent taps out on you, and you know next turn is a crucial turn they can go for game, if you can activate his -4, that way your opponent can only resend 2 energy, so they only have 3 energy for that whole turn. Hopefully that stops them from being able to go for game against you. With this unison, we do play 4 of the Vegeta Prideful Transformation, which is the counterplay. He is a blocker, but the counterplay is that you can't play any more counterplays for the duration of the turn when you play this card. Also, if you have a yellow unison card with 2 or more markers in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost, which is amazing. Also, side note, we literally pulled all 4 of these SPRs as our toppers from our boxes, which was pretty cool. So, but speaking of cards that pretty much get played for free, we also play 2 Release from Evil. To counterattack, if your leader card is mono yellow, choose the attacking card, ignoring barrier, negate its skills. For the turn, it can't be switched to active mode until the start of your opponent's next turn. So if someone gets like Cell on you on their turn 5, now it has double strike and the quad, whatever. No, sorry. Or anything like any really decent secret rare, or in my case, I was playing against Fluff's Jiren deck. He got the big boy Jiren out on the field. I couldn't actually. That wouldn't stop it. But Frieza's Reborn Army, it will stop. It hurts that. So it's not a bad card. I don't play it a lot of. I think 2 is just perfect because I do draw a lot with this deck. Super combos. I chose to go with the new Sun Gohan ones. Which super combo, if your leader card is yellow and your life is 4 or less, when this card is used in combo, choose one. Either draw 1 card, or during your turn, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in rest mode, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 5 or less in rest mode and KO it, which is pretty nice. I typically just use super combos also just during my opponent's turns naturally, but if they happen to have a card early on the field that I'm like, no, that's going to be a problem, I'm going to swing my lead. I'll combo this off just to pop it, which is pretty nice. He does have an ability when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode, which isn't bad. You can use it for, they have a blocker on the field or whatnot. The problem is it doesn't get past barrier, so kind of hurts there. But it has its purposes. Now the rest of this is just kind of, that's pretty much the super combo plus my entire Unison and Gotenks engine. The rest of these are kind of things that I added to just kind of go with this deck and the idea of its theme. Play 3 of the Technique Chain Son Gokus. Activate main for 1 yellow energy. If your leader card is Yellow Saiyan and your opponent has 3 or more energy, play this card from your hand. So it's 1 energy to play this card on the field. Activate main for 2 energy. Play up to 1 Son Goku Absolute Annihilation from your deck. On top of this card in active mode to shuffle your deck. So you play it for 1 energy, you swing, then you activate 2 to play this on top of it. Now it's inactive, has deflect, barrier, unique, so you obviously can't have more than 1 on the field. But if your leader card is yellow and your opponent can't activate extra cards unless they switch one of their energies to rest mode. That being said, if I have this leader and let's say I go to attack and they have to negate well, leader's auto procs, they have to pay another energy for his effect. I would tap one of their battle cards because my leader's effect. Or if it's during their turn, they want to play an extra card to search for something. Or maybe there's an extra card, I think, in the Topo deck that Fluff plays that allows him to draw 2 cards, and if all my energies tap, he gets to play, I think, a Universe 2 battle card for 2 less energy, something like that. But he would have to pay 2 energy just to pull that off if this happens to be on the field. Now, most likely he wouldn't do that, but that's just an example.
No, I'm crazy.
For extra cards, or for more extra cards, I played 2 Flying Nimbus. Got my beautiful shinies back, for the time being at least. If you're not familiar with Nimbus, negate the attack, discard 1 yellow card, and your opponent can only attack with 1 more battle card for a duration turn. Now, I mentioned this before in another video. In my honest opinion, Unisons have hurt Flying Nimbus a lot because now it's a leader. It's a Unison and then another battle card, so they can still potentially get 3 attacks off. So, it is what it is. I do play 3 Vegeta's Final Flash. Activate battle if your leader card is yellow, choose up to one of your leader cards or battle cards. It gets plus 15,000 power for the duration of the turn. And auto, if all of your energy is yellow, you can activate this card. When you activate this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and negate its skills for the duration of the turn. Which is so clutch for a lot of certain things. Speaking of clutch, if I play against, let's say, another yellow deck, and they play the Gotenks, I have Mecha Kubora, or Xenocell, or anything that's super nasty on their field that I'm like, I need that away, off their field so I can use it, I would play Mecha Kubora for 4 energy and just activate his effect to take control of their card, which is pretty nice. I only do play 1 of, because it's not a card I truly want to see, it's just kind of like last resort scenario type things. Speaking of last resort scenarios, I do play this secret rare from this set, which is the Gotenks. It has double strike, reduce the energy cost of this card by 1 for each battle card, 15,000 power or less in your drop area. So at the lowest, he's only 4 energy. Permanent, negate the skills of all other battle cards, and it does include your own. And When this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, choose all of your opponent's battle cards in energy and rest mode, ignoring barrier, and place them in your owner's drop area. So, granted, if I play that and my opponent's yellow and they play this, I lose pretty much. But if I'm playing against yellow, I will probably never play this card, just in fear of coming across this card. But outside of yellow, this card is pretty awesome in my opinion. So that is my Gotenks deck. That being said, this is primarily everything we had pretty much pulled from our cases. We didn't buy more than one case. We only got one case between the three of us. So this is pretty much what we pulled. So I built the Gotenks deck from it. I'm gonna start still messing with it to make it better. I think right now it's just in a quote unquote mediocre stage, and I'm not 100% satisfied with it yet. So I'm still looking at other people's builds now too to see what they've done. And hey, put in the comments down below if you guys think of anything that could be beneficial to me. I appreciate that. And I think that covers it. So like always, read your cards, know your plays, and
Love out.